For those of you that are joining us for the first time, welcome. My name is Tracy Matson. I'm a certified professional dog trainer, and I'm here to answer all your training questions, whatever you have. Just a little disclaimer, I have a new here for Puppy Board and Train, so it might be noisy. So if right now she's resting in her crate and being really good, and there seems to be a little bit of a lag with the audio and stuff, so I apologize. I hope you guys can hear. Oh, I forgot to turn the chat on. Let's do that. So hey, Nicole, I have been having problems with my internet, so hope this works and hope it's not too far behind from I can see. Okay, Nicole, let me find you. I should just automatically have you guys in the thing that join every week. There's Nicole. Okay, so as you join, I'm putting your name in. I'm trying to block the sun going down because it's a terrible glare. Hi, Willie. Here's Willy Wonka. Came to say hi. So yes, I have a new puppy that came to Board and Train. I literally just met the owner and we, hey, Matthew. And I picked up the dog and just like quickly introduced her to my 4 dogs. And then the puppy discovered the cat. And I don't think she's ever seen a cat. So she started barking. So I put her in a crate just during the live. And then hopefully she'll be quiet. Willow. I'm going to college to become a dog trainer, and I'm paying money to learn more about it as well. Awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, I'm happy for you. Which college are you going to, just out of curiosity? So I didn't go to a college. I mentored under another trainer and just read the book, started teaching puppy class, stuff like that. So I always like to hear like what college people are going to. If I had to do it all over again, I would have done Karen Pryor Academy. But you know, now that's like, I mean, it's never too late, but Animal Behavior College in Canada. Nice. Yeah, they have them all over. One of my other trainer that works for Three Little Pits, she went to Animal Behavior College as well. There's also one called Catch Academy, and I don't know a ton about it, but there is a student, right? So I guess I'm like one of their mentors or evaluators. So their students can come and shadow me for so many hours, and then they have to pass stuff off. So, but other than that, I don't really know a whole lot about their course itself. So that's exciting, though. I'm happy for you, Willow. Yeah, it's really fun. I mean, I got into training when I adopted my second pit bull and had to work with a trainer, and we started doing the science-based training, and it was like so much fun that I asked her if she would mentor me if I wanted to like start doing it. And she said, yeah. So that's kind of how I got into it. And it's been super fun. I would do it again in a heartbeat. So it's very, very rewarding when you can go in and, whoops, sorry, I just dropped something. When you can go in and help somebody that has a problem dog and you see that that relief, or like, oh my gosh, there's hope, or how did you do that, then it makes it really rewarding to be able to do that for people. So that's one of the hey Travis, Oh, so Travis, you're thinking about Animal Behavior College. So Travis, why don't you private message me? Just because, it's sorry, it smells like Willy Wonka had an accident. I don't know. I'll find it later. And it might be the cat too. I just suddenly had this whiff of something that is not normal for the house. And so Nicole, you get to shadow your trainer on weekends. So I don't know a lot about the courses, just to be honest. I have had several people say when they got through that they didn't really feel like they knew as much as they should. So, like, I'm not saying anything bad because I don't know about their program, but I know the girl that works under me said, when she got done with school and came to work with me at the rescue, she was pretty green, and there's a lot of stuff that I had to teach her. And then later, hey, Renee and Brian, I should just automatically put you guys in too. So, okay, I can't find. Oh, there's Willow. I almost forgot to put Willow in. So some people have said that they don't really feel like they know enough or as much as they need to. And then a lot of stuff that my trainer said was like, I didn't know anything about like resource guarding or reactivity or some stuff like that. Like I learned everything from you. So hello, Julie. So that's the only thing. If I had to do it over again, I would probably go to Karen Pryor Academy because she has a great reputation. She wrote the book, Don't Shoot the Dog. She does clicker training. So if you're going to spend the money, I would do that one because they put out a lot of really good trainers. Everybody that's graduated from a different college, and I'm just going to lump them all into one because I don't want to say anything bad about one specifically, but they've kind of said that it was a lot of money and they didn't feel like they knew enough. So it taught like the basics, but it didn't get into like separation anxiety, resource guarding, aggression, like stuff like that. So hopefully that helps a little bit more. And if you guys want to email me and like have a Zoom chat or something like that, I'm happy to help you and just give you my thoughts. And then just what I've learned from other trainers that have gone through it. Okay, I need to find Julie. Oh, there you are. Okay. Let me go back now. Matthew, I've been doing the recall mastery. For example, each level has 4 levels. I believe they want you to do each level 25 times. Your dog has to get 9 out of 10. It just feels like a lot, but he is getting a lot better. Yeah, so I believe that's the one that I filmed for them. And I think the reason that they want you to do it so many times is because recall is one of those things that your dog will do it until there's a distraction or something like that. So they want you to do it over and over and over again so that it gets in your dog's muscle memory before going on to the next level. And the reason that it seems like a lot is because it is, but again, we want to get that in the dog's muscle memory because so on Leash and in puppy class, Jade has a perfect recall. Like I can have her in the room, I can call her, she'll come. If we're out hiking and let's say we're out hiking and she's off leash and there's like lots of deer manure, deer, like animal feed, and I'm trying to call her off of it or call her away from another dog, it's not guaranteed that she's going to come. she's going to be like, okay, what's more reinforcing? Do I really want to run after this squirrel, or do I want to come back to mom? So that's why they're having you do it over and over and over again, just so that it just sinks into your dog's head. And I think things like recall and leave it are things that you can't ever do too much of, because those are the two things that you really are going to need to have a rock solid leave it and a rock solid recall. So yes, that's why they do that. And it's not to say you have to do like each one 25 times. If your dog's doing perfect at 20 times, like, then you could go on to the next one. So yeah, I would just do it as much until your dog like has it perfectly down, and then you could go on to the next one. Okay, Travis. Oh yeah, I already answered Travis's. Okay. Oh, and Nicole, you get to shadow your trainer weekends. Awesome. Yeah, so Willow, I'll give you a little fun fact that a lot of people don't know. There is actually no such thing as a behavioralist. Like, that is a word that people have made up. There's a behaviorist. A behaviorist is somebody with a PhD in one of the animal sciences. So like here in Utah, we have one, maybe two, like actual behaviorists, and they have a PhD in animal science. So then you have like a veterinary behaviorist, which is a veterinarian that then goes to more school to become a veterinary behaviorist. So one thing, Willow, that you could do is there's something called a certified behavior consultant, which is what I am. And that's probably what you're thinking about, unless you plan on, like, I think it would be awesome if I were younger. I would totally go to school and do the whole PhD thing and be a behaviorist, because I love the behavior side of it. If I could just take all reactivity and aggression cases, I totally would. I love them. Just in 2 weeks, I had a dog try to bite me 3 times, and I still love doing it. Don't ask me why. I must be crazy. But I am really careful, and so far, like, I haven't been bit yet. But yeah, I just love working those cases to try and help the dogs and the owners, because usually when they get to that point, they're like out of options and they're defeated, and we know that the dog has an underlying anxiety or fear aspect, and so I just like seeing them progress and be less afraid, and see the owner kind of like finally have this relief of, oh my gosh, there's hope for my dog. That's why I do it. So yeah, Willow, if you go into that side of it, you will not regret it. It's really fun. So as you get, so let's say that you get certified through CCPDT, which is who I'm certified through. Then you can be like a certified professional dog trainer. And then you can start working on the behavior side, and you can call yourself a behavior consultant, but you can't call yourself like a certified behavior consultant. Then once you get all your hours in and take the hardest test I've ever taken in my life, then you can get what is called a certified behavior consultant. Then there's the IAABC. They also have a certification program that you can go through to be a behavior consultant. And that's the next one that I'm going to take, although I've heard it's like a bear. So I'm like practicing writing up case studies and, doing all that stuff. So, but yeah, you might be thinking of like behavior consultant. So I had a boss. I should not share this with you guys, but I will. So I used to have a boss that had been in rescue for years, and she used to use the word behavioralist. And I'm like, okay, that's not even a word. And you've probably heard it a lot, Willow, and that's why you're using it, because I hear it a lot. And what people don't realize is that's not a word. So it's either behavior consultant, behaviorist, and again, a behaviorist has a PhD. And then, so it's all semantics, but just so you guys understand. And so when you're out there, like using the terminology, you use it right. Okay. Sorry about the puppy whining in the background. If you can hear her, I can hear her. Rosie, it's fine. Okay, Julie, we are working hard on walking with a loose leash. I'm using a Martingale collar, but it doesn't seem to be helping. Oh, okay. So really what the Martingale does is, hang on. I'm getting my throat drops. Jade, it's not candy. It's not candy. So Miss Jade has a Martingale collar on, and all that does is it keeps her from being able to slip out of her collar. So if you have a dog that is an escape artist or can slip out of a collar, then I use the Martingale. So it just helps so that the dog can't slip out. For pulling, I would use the Freedom harness. So that's a harness that clips in the front and the back. Pupford sells them. Let me grab one really quick. I have a dog under my chair and I have dogs everywhere. Okay, excuse me. Okay, let me grab one and I'll show you why I like it. Excuse me, Willie. Okay, so this is what I use with my dogs. So this is one of my former dogs. But the reason I like it is because it actually has the Martingale on top, so that if the dog pulls, like, it'll tighten so your dog can't get out of it. But it has the front clip and the back clip, and it comes with its own leash. Or if you order it, make sure you order the leash with it. So then you have double control. And if the dog starts to pull, you have this front clip leash so that then if the dog pulls, it turns them back towards you so they literally can't pull. And then if you want a longer leash, you just unclip the one in the back, and then the handle slides to the end. You have a longer leash that's still clipped in front. So like if this were clipped on me, then let's say I started pulling and my owner's behind me and has the leash, it's going to turn me back around towards the other way. So it's an actual anti-pull harness, and that's what I've always used with my dogs. And now they're kind of to the point where they don't really need the halter or the harness anymore. They've just learned to walk on leash, so we don't need it. But that's what I would recommend for you, Julie, is the Freedom harness, because the Martingale, all it does is it will go just tight enough so that your dog doesn't choke, but it doesn't really keep them from pulling. It just keeps them from being able to slip out. So yeah, that's what I use. Nicole, I know several of the colleges are all online. Yeah, so I don't know much about the Victoria Stilwell Academy, but I think with her reputation, that one would be really good as well. And yes, I know that Karen Pryor Academy has a hands-on. In fact, I did look into it once just because I thought, well, maybe because I didn't go to school, there's a lot of like foundational stuff that maybe I don't know. And when I looked into it, yeah, you can do most of it online, but then like the nearest, I would have to like go to Denver, Colorado 2 or 3 times to pass off stuff in person. So that's why, I work full time right now, so I opted not to do it. But yes, I bet that Victoria Stilwell has a really good program as well. And the other thing I like about them is they are both science-based training, so you'll learn really good methods. You'll be good to go when you get out of school. Okay, Travis. Long time since I have been on there. I know we have missed you. Mickey's doing good, but recently she hasn't been listening to me outdoors, especially her recall. So I am starting the recall mastery course tomorrow. Mickey will hate starting on her leash, calling her 2 feet away. Yeah, and sometimes you do have to do like remedial training, especially the age, like, you know, when they're going from puppy into teenage adolescent, or if they are like going into adulthood or things like that, sometimes they have selective hearing. And there's been a lot of times with my own dogs when I've had to take a step back and do something easier, just because they seem to like revert back to like habits, so to speak. So yeah, if you feel like you have to take a step back and start training again, totally do it. I have to do it with Jay. And every time we go to a new place, I have to almost start over. So I will like start with the 6-foot leash, and kind of work through that with her, and then go up to a 15, then a 30, things like that. So yeah, and that's good. I'm glad you're like starting over again. I think you'll find out that Mickey will catch on quicker this time. It's like, oh yeah, I do this and then I do this, and then she'll pick up quicker. But that's good that you're starting over. Yeah, Brian, same with Peyton. Sometimes dogs, like, especially if there's lots of distractions and stuff outside, the distractions are more reinforcing than coming to us. So we have to like have a really high rate of reinforcement so that they learn that coming back is good. And what I do is I'll call the dog back, give a treat, and then I'll say, okay, go play. Okay, give me 2 seconds. I'm going to put this dog outside because she's going to drive me insane. So I'll be right back. Rosie, you're going to go outside and play. Okay. Thank you, and sorry about that. There's no way I could do another hour of puppy whining. Even though I do puppy board and train, it's like ear piercing. So, yeah, and I'll be kind of glad when I hate mud season, but this also means that I have to go out and pick up all the poop from the winter, and there's a lot. So 4 dogs, there's a lot. So hi, Anita. Let me find Anita. There we are. Okay. And yeah, just so you, I mean, even with my dogs, like, you know, Maddie is 11, but I still have to kind of sometimes do a lure with her. It's like, really, you can't remember sit, or she's too excited to sit. So we kind of start over, and that's totally fine. That's okay. And whenever I'm in a brand new place that Jade's never been, she is not going to listen. So we have to kind of like start over and do some remedial training. Okay. Willow, have you heard of Will Atherton Academy? I have not. I've never even heard of him. I would make sure, like, look and see what kind of methods they teach. I'm trying to get that glare out. Make sure that they don't use any kind of force, fear, or intimidation techniques, definitely like pinch collars, shock collars, prong collars. If they use those kinds of things, I would steer clear. And stick with the positive ones. So I think Animal Behavior College is positive. I know for a fact that Victoria Stillwell and Karen Pryor would be. So yeah, sorry, I don't know anything about that other one. Travis, I've been slacking at training and she's almost 4. Well, I get it. I have a 4-year-old that I hardly train at all. Mainly because she's really good, and she's the one that never gets out, doesn't chew the furniture. But I wouldn't really say she's trained. She doesn't really like to go out and help and go places. She hates riding in the car, so she's just happy being home. So I haven't really had to train her on stuff, if that makes sense. Renee. Recently, we hadn't been practicing Leave It on a regular basis. Peyton seemed to forget what it meant. Yes, so when we talk about the 4 stages of learning, the 4th one is maintenance, and that means you have to keep practicing those behaviors. Otherwise, your dog will lose it, which is probably why sometimes Maddie chooses not to sit. I don't correct her just because she's got bad hips. And so if she's choosing not to sit because it hurts, I don't want to withhold a treat from her if it's a pain thing. So usually if she chooses not to sit, I'll ask her to do something else, like hand target, watch me, something like that, and then I'll reward her. But it is true that if you don't keep practicing, then your dog will forget it, and so you have to keep it up. I'm trying to find my phone so I can turn it off because it keeps beeping at me. Okay. I was just with a puppy and we were doing sound desensitization, and so I had to turn my phone on just to get the sounds, and then I forgot to turn it off. So I feel like Leave It and Recall are 2 that you have to constantly work on and constantly reinforce and stuff like that. So I know with my dogs, I'm constantly doing Leave It and Recall. Those are the 2 that we do all the time. Let's see, Travis. Her behavior with other dogs is getting better. As when she was at daycare for 2 weeks, I'm noticing improvements. That's good. That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. Let's see, Willow. The ARL uses it as a word, which is why I thought it was a thing. Oh, really? That is weird, because there is a behaviorist, but there's not a behavioralist, unless it's been used so much now that it's become a word. I don't know. I just know every conference I go to, people talk about, it's kind of one of their pet peeves when they hear the word behavioralist, because there's really no such thing. But I don't know. Maybe they made it a word since I learned about it. Yeah, so Travis, with distractions, I go back to training on a leash. So if I'm going to train with Jade around distractions, I'll make sure she's on a leash just so I can reinforce that Leave It and reinforce that Recall, so that she doesn't get rewarded for ignoring me, if that makes sense. And sometimes you have to kind of ease into the distractions and then build the distractions from there, so that it's not too overwhelming and too much. So an example, we were working with a dog that loves to bark at the door when people come. So the owners thought that, let's go right to ringing the doorbell, and the dog went ballistic. So I said, okay, well, let's not do the doorbell yet. Let's just knock on the door, but do it softly. And then let's reward your dog for being calm or choosing a different behavior. So we did that. I actually used my phone to desensitize the sound of door knocking, really light, and then we got louder, louder, louder. Then I had the husband go outside and knock on the door, and then we built up to the doorbell. So you start small and then increase, increase, increase. But they wanted to go right to the doorbell, which I knew wasn't going to work, but sometimes you can't tell people. So they went right to the doorbell, and sure enough, the dog was barking and we couldn't get his attention. But when we did it my way, and started slow and low volume and then increased gradually, the dog did it like a champ. So yeah, kind of think about that when you're working with distractions. Sorry, I'm having issues here. Okay. Matthew, how do you know when your dog is ready to be off leash? My friend told me the dog will let you know. Yes, Matthew. My my Facebook page is just under my name, and I just put it in for you. Oh yeah. Since I have a new board and train puppy and Sammy, when I'm working, Sammy likes to walk right on the computer, and she's deleted emails. She has messed up my computer. So now when I'm on the computer, I have to put her in her condo. Otherwise, I get no work done, or the work that I do get done, she has deleted for me before. So yeah, that's the only time she has to be in there. And I have a new puppy here that I don't really want him to get swatted, so we'll introduce them slowly. Okay, let me go back. Oh, so Matthew, what I do is I have the dog drag a leash. So like if I'm doing recall with my dogs, so I'll do like a 6 foot, then a 15, 20, maybe 30. And then I'll have them drag a leash and see if they come back. And if they don't, then I can pick up the leash and reinforce it. Then I'll practice like in an enclosed area, like a fenced in tennis court, or, or a dog park when there's no dogs. And then I'll practice recall. Then if the dog's coming every time, then I trust them off leash. But like if we went hiking and I call my dogs and they don't come to me, then they lose their off leash privilege, and I leash them back up, and then they have to be on a leash. And of course, if I'm in like a new area that seems really distracting, I'll just keep them on leash just for safety. But I'm not sure what your friend meant by like the dog will let you know. I'm sure that a few of my dogs would like to be off leash, but I don't trust them off leash, so I don't let them off. One of them's Daphne, because if we go hiking, she'll be great. She'll stay with the other dogs. And that's the other thing too, is if you have a group of dogs, dogs stay together more. Versus like if I just take one out by themselves, then they tend to like really want to search and hunt and go do other things. But if they're with a group, they kind of stay together. But yeah, if I call them and they don't come, then I leash them up. And it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. You just lost your off-leash privilege. And then they have to be on a leash until we go through the steps again and get to where I can maybe trust them off leash. But that's a great question. Willow, I have to do it again. Pick up poop. I've been slacking. Yeah, so I'm really good during the summer to pick it up all the time. But then in the winter, by the time I get home, it's dark, it's cold, it's icy. So then I go the whole winter, and then I have to do like a spring cleanup, which is awful. I hate spring cleanup. So, Travis, I have to go eat. Yeah, feel free to email me and or message me, and I'll get back to you. We can even set up a time to, like, chat on the phone or something. So, okay, Nicole, I overdid it with Wilma this weekend. Drove 9 hours Saturday for a rut, drove 7 hours Sunday to have my sister help with some of her CGC training. Then 9 hours for class Monday. Wow, that is a lot of driving, Nicole. I couldn't do that. I can't sit still that long, for one thing. Poor thing in class was showing some fear. One practice she hid behind me, and on a couple of others we decided not to even do it because she wasn't herself. Yeah, so if you're going to do like testing and stuff like that, I would, or like traveling a long way, I would try to break up the long hours, and you probably did break it up. But yeah, if she was just like so tired and mentally drained from the long ride, then chances are that, yeah, it was just too much, and then she couldn't perform. So next time I would maybe break up the ride or leave earlier if you can, so that you can, once you get to where you're going, then you can give her some time to like decompress, get used to her environment, like things like that, before you actually, test. That's what I would do. Let's see. Karen. Hi, Karen. Let me find Karen's. Massachusetts. I'm going to start putting all of the regulars in there, and then I'll add the other people. Nicole, my dog trainer put a cat bed on her desk and trained her cat to stay on the bed. That is a good idea. I actually just messaged one of my friends who is a dog and cat trainer, and I'm like, I need some enrichment for my cat because I don't think she's getting enough. Like, she doesn't destroy things, but she loves to get into things, and I'll come home and find stuff spread all over. And I know it's her, so but that's a good idea, to put a bed on the desk and then have her lay on the bed instead of walking over me and walking on the computer. Kirsten. Hi, Kirsten. I think I may have, I do. I have a paper for you already. So glad you could join us. I just added you in. Nicole, I changed oil Friday and already put 2,000 miles on my car. Holy cow. Mondays before class, we always play a little, so she's happy for class, but she didn't want to play. Yeah, we usually go to Wichita a couple hours early. So, Nicole, do you have to drive that far every week for class? Because that is some dedication, girl. If you are going that far every week just for a class, that's pretty committed. You should actually get a prize for that. I complain about going an hour and a half. So one of my really good friends, who's the one that I mentored under, she has training classes at her house, and I would love to be able to take her classes, but she's an hour and a half away, and so, to me, it's like that's 3 hours worth of driving, just driving there and back. So I haven't really done it yet because, well, I did do it once. I take that back. So I did do one set of classes, and it was just a lot of driving. So I kind of stopped and haven't done anymore, but I would like to. But man, I'm complaining about an hour and a half one way, and you're going 4.5 hours one way. So that's pretty dedicated. Willow, when we're done with this live, I plan on learning more about advanced training behavior. Yes, and let me know if I'm wrong. I mean, I've heard this in like more than one seminar that I've been in. So if I'm wrong, please correct me, and I will even admit that I'm wrong. But yeah, that's just what I've been told. Nicole, starting April 24th, I have class Sunday, Monday, so that's why I get to shadow the trainer. Yeah, that'll be good. One of my really good friends lives in Rhode Island, and I want to go visit. And when I do, I always like to shadow other trainers just to get new ideas. Like, oh man, I didn't think about that. And I have a really good friend that we always bounce ideas off each other. So it's really fun to have another trainer, behavior consultant that we can, like, what's your opinion on this? What am I missing here? Like, it's so nice to have somebody that you can bounce that off of. And since my friend works predominantly with pit bulls, I'm excited to go visit so that I can like shadow her classes, shadow her consults, and just see like, how does she do it, and like pick up stuff that I may not know. So, yeah, it's always good to be able to, shadow other people. Let's see. Well, it's not a word. I always thought it was. I don't remember exactly where I heard it. Yeah, a lot of people use it, honestly. Like, and I wasn't trying to like make you feel bad because a lot of people use it. I just thought I'll just tell you now so that if you go to a school and say, I want to be a behavioralist, they might to themselves be thinking, oh, there's really no such thing as that. But I even have a lot of my clients say that, like, we needed to reach out to a behavioralist. And so then I'll say, well, I'm a behavior consultant. There's a difference. And a lot of times I won't like really tell them that there's no such thing, that it's not really a word doing this. Okay. Moose will have leash walking class Sunday and advanced manners on Monday. Well, that's good. At least you get to do like 2 days of it, which is good. I need to start doing advanced with. Doesn't get as much training or attention as she should, but that's my fault. Here's, I think you guys have seen Maddie before, but there's my 11-year-old, best pit bull in the world, other than like Tacoma, who passed away. Tacoma was an awesome dog. Okay. If we don't have any other questions, I'm going to go through really quick and make sure that I didn't miss somebody's question. So another thing, Willow, my niece is going to school right now to be a vet. She's just doing her undergrad. And so I'm trying to talk her into going further and being a behavior consultant or a veterinary behaviorist, because we need them so bad. Like, we don't have any in the state of Utah. And so I always have to refer them out of state. So to have one here would be amazing, but she will probably go back to Virginia, where she's from. But if I had it to do all over again, like, I would either get my PhD as a behaviorist or a veterinary behaviorist because I love the behavior side of things. I'm kind of a nerdy geek that way. I love reading the behavior stuff, like all of that. When I can't sleep at night, I have my iPad on the nightstand, and if I can't sleep in the middle of the night, I'll flip it open and read about behavior. I usually don't retain very well when it's in the middle of the night, but it helps me fall back asleep. Okay, let's see. For those of you that we haven't seen in a while, welcome back, and I hope you guys will come back next week. And for my faithful followers that are here every week, I love you guys. I'm just scrolling through to see if I missed anybody's question. If not, we will do a drawing. Oh, so Nicole, I usually put about 1,400 miles on my car every month because I drive to people's houses. And my accountant did not believe that I drove that much. And she's like, are you going to be able to back this up if you get audited? And I'm like, yep, I have everybody's name down, address. And I really don't do much outside of work. So I don't really need to drive anywhere. And when I am driving, I'm working or training. So it's all like work related. I wish I had this awesomely fun social life, but I don't. And usually by the weekend, I'm exhausted and I just want to stay home. So, oh, Willow, you got lucky and was able to do the no money down when you signed up for animal. That's good. And I think you'll learn a lot. You'll learn a lot. And then when you mentor or shadow under somebody, ask lots of questions. I'd like to be a vet and a groomer as well. Yeah, so right now, all of our groomers are booked out like 4, 5, 6 months. And so I just noticed somebody putting in a grooming thing down the street or in town. And somebody said to me, like, you should go to school and be a groomer. You'd have more business than you can handle. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really have the patience for that. Standing still and doing like grooming dogs, I don't think I could do it. I have to be moving around and doing stuff. Plus, when I was married, I used to give my husband haircuts because they make it look so easy, and I always thought it would be fun, and it was a disaster. And finally, he would have to go get it fixed at the barber, and she said, do not let Tracy cut your hair anymore because it's so bad that I'm not going to be able to fix it. So I got banned from cutting hair, and then I just assumed that I would not be a good groomer. So, but they are really in demand right now, and so are veterinarians. Oh, okay, here's a question. Oliver keeps digging up my yard. I can't be there every second. I hate to not let him out because I don't want him to dig. So I would have to look up on my little cheat sheet because I can't remember what Catahoulas were originally bred for. So I'll just use my dogs as an example. Pit bulls were originally bred for varmint control. So they'll dig because they're digging for mice or gophers or voles or anything underneath the grass into the dirt. So my dogs love to dig too. So what I've done is I have like one spot that they're allowed to dig. If they start digging in another place, I'll just fill it up. But then I'll say, if I catch them, it's kind of like potty training. It's like, you can't dig there. Here, let's dig over here. And then I take them to the spot where they are allowed to dig. You can even make like a sandbox. So you know the sandboxes that you make for little kids? Make one of those and then put dirt or sand in it. And then to get them to dig in that spot, you can hide like treats or toys. like in the sand, in the dirt. And so that they dig and they actually find stuff, like they find a bone or they find a toy or things like that. So that they learn to dig in that one area. Another one that you can do is like a plastic toy kiddie pool, and you can fill it with sand, dirt, or plastic balls, and again, you can throw in some food, treats, toys, and let the dog like dig through the balls. So then they get that digging motion out that they want to do, and it's enriching for them. If you want to see, I am going to, the only reason I'm giving you this is on my Instagram page, we have an example of the pool with the balls in it. And there's a little French bulldog that was doing board and train with me. And we put him in there to like play and find all the stuff. So if you want to look, here's our Instagram page. If you want to see what an example of the pool looks like and how it works, then you can check it out there. You'll be able to tell looks like a big swimming pool with all these plastic colored balls in there, and then a little French bulldog in there. Oh, okay. So herding. Yeah. So maybe digging for other reasons. I mean, other breeds can dig too, for sure. But I would just try to find another outlet. So if he likes to dig, and if he's a mix, it could be the mix that is doing the digging. So, like I have a pit mix. Jade is a pit mix, and she's part Boston. So she digs, which is the pit bull, and then the Boston, she's like a freaking little kangaroo. And she's like jumping all the time, never stops. And every Boston Terrier client I've had is a jumper. And so it's like when you have a mix, you get the DNA from both of those. And then you kind of have sometimes competing behaviors, because it's like, well, this dog herds and this dog digs. So then you might have a dog that does both. It's like, trying to herd the neighborhood kids and digging up your yard. So whenever you have a mix, then that's very possible. So yeah, I would just try the pool or the sandbox or something like that, or just like a designated area where the dogs are allowed to dig. Like I said, I have one, and when I mow, like I just mow around the hole and let him dig. And I've with 4 dogs, I've kind of given up on my backyard ever looking really nice. So, I kind of let them dig to an extent because they keep the voles away. And, but I don't want them to like dig up my whole lawn. So yeah, I do keep it kind of to a minimum. Let's see. Oh, Karen, I do too. You know what? Honestly, this is like my favorite time of the week. I love my job and what I do, but I always look forward to doing these because I get to hang out with you guys, and it's just fun. Like, it's fun for me too. So I love it. If they ever take this job away from me, I will cry. Let's see. Is canine specialist the same thing as canine behaviorist? I don't think so. Like somebody that's not, and this is just my opinion, I could be totally wrong, but somebody could like give themselves the name canine specialist. So like when I worked at the rescue, before I was certified as a behavior consultant, my title was training and behavior manager, because I managed the dogs and their behavior. So I wasn't calling anything that I wasn't, but I was over the training and behavior department. So it was training and behavior manager. So somebody could call themselves a canine specialist. A canine behaviorist, remember, so a behaviorist is somebody that has a PhD in one of the sciences. So, like applied behavior analysis, ethology, trying to think of, behavior sciences, like those kinds of things. Once you get like a PhD in that, then you're a behaviorist. And we do have one in Utah, but we do not have a veterinary behaviorist. So a veterinary behaviorist is a vet that then goes to like several more years of school to be a behaviorist. Nicole, yes, mine too. My social life is my dogs. Like that's all I do. In fact, we're all family, right? I can tell you this. So I've been divorced longer than I was married. Maddie, it's not candy, it's just throat drops. And I don't date anymore because I don't have time, and I'm kind of like passing my life, like I don't really care. But I was dating somebody for like we were about a month. We had been like just going out for fun for a month. And one day he said, "So you have too many dogs." He goes, "I can't handle all the dog hair, and it gets in my clothes, and then it gets in my car." And I said, "Well, I'm not getting rid of my dogs, so sorry, looks like you're going to have to go." And he did have a dog, but his dog stayed outside all the time. And he had 2 adult sons. And if they would go play with the dog, before they could come in the house, they'd have to take their clothes off and change into different clothes that didn't have dog hair on them. That's how anal he was. So I'm like, yeah, I am definitely not for you. And then I have another friend that we've been really good friends for like 30 years. And when we used to hike a lot together, so we would always like go backpacking and hiking and stuff, but we never like dated because I was married, and then when I wasn't married, he was married. And so it just happened in the past couple of months that we're both single now. And we were kind of just joking around like, yeah, we're kind of both introverts and we both want to live off the grid. Like maybe we should date. But then he said, "I don't like dogs." And I'm like, okay, then there's no reason to even take this conversation further, because I will always have a dog. I may not always have 4, but I will always have at least 1 and probably 2 dogs. So that's like a deal breaker with me. If somebody doesn't like dogs or can't handle dog hair or cat hair, then it's like, sorry, then I'll wish you well and off you go. Let's see, where do you recommend for becoming a behaviorist? Honestly, I don't know. Like I'm not sure all of the stuff you have to go through. I can put you in touch with the one we have here. I know you can go to like any college that has a PhD program. Like first you would have to get like a bachelor's in behavior science. Then you'd have to get a master's degree. I think you have to have a master's before you get your PhD, or I don't know if you can go right directly and get your PhD. But then you have to submit papers for like peer review. And so I don't know that whole process, but you could, I think there's a school in Denver, Colorado, because they have one of the teaching veterinary hospitals, and I think they also have a behavior program. So I would try that one. If you type in Colorado State University, I think is what it is. check out Colorado State University and see if they have like a PhD program, and then they would be able to tell you what you have to do. So yeah, if I knew what I know now back then, that's the path I would have taken. Oh, so okay, Willow, I just realized I'm the issue for my dog reactivity. I don't know how to control my fear when I see other dogs. Yeah, so it's definitely a learned thing. And this is what I tell my clients all the time. When I had a German Shepherd, he was not good around other dogs. So every time I'd see another dog, I would tense up and I'd be like, oh crap, there's a dog. This is not going to go well. And my dog could tell. And so he felt like he needed to handle it. And I had to like teach myself how to stay calm and be like, okay, just sniff each other. We're good. And it took a lot of years for me to get to that point to where I wasn't panicked or freaking out, and then just let the dog sniff and we go on our way. So I'm not sure how to do that, but I can tell you that you can do it, because if I can do it, anybody can do it. One thing that might be able to help your fear is working with a trainer or a behavior consultant, because when I go out with the client and the dog, and we set up really good scenarios and their dogs do well, that gives the owner confidence. And they also have confidence knowing, okay, my trainer's here. She's not going to let anything bad happen, so we can do this. And then that gives them confidence as well. So if you can go out with somebody who knows what they're doing and really like help you and learn how to manage your environment, things like that, then that's going to help you. Another thing that you can do is treat bomb the other dog. So like the pit bull that ran up to you, if a dog's running up to you and you don't know if they're friendly, take a handful of treats, chuck them right in the face of the other dog. It's called a treat bomb. And you treat bomb the other dog, they stop, hopefully stop. It works about 90% of the time, where they stop and get the treats, and then you have time to get away. So I've done that before too. I've used treat bombs quite a bit just for loose dogs. Yeah, so Willow, I've never heard of Stratford, and I'm not sure what a canine specialist is. It might be like their own designation. If you want a certification that is well respected and recognized, I would look at the CCPDT, and you start with the certified professional dog trainer, and then you can do the behavior one after that, or IAABC, and look at their certified dog behavior consultant. So those are the two that are the most widely recognized and respected. So yeah. Willow, could I let her sniff, or is that a bad idea? I have to go back. And you mean when your dog is reactive, do you mean like let her sniff? Like if a dog runs up, it's okay to let them sniff. And a lot of times once they sniff, it kind of diffuses the issue. And it's like, okay, we sniffed, we're done, we're gone. If you don't know about the other dog, if it's friendly or not, I would treat bomb the dog and then go the other way. But so let's say that your dog is reactive and there's a dog, I would take treats and throw them on the grass and say, go hunt, and then redirect your dog to doing nose work in the grass instead of focusing on another dog. So does that make sense? So yes, I would let her sniff. If it's a dog that's aggressive, then I would be like, let's go, come on, we're going this way, and just avoid that situation. Yeah, and that's another problem too, is when people say like, my dog's friendly, and you're like, well, mine's not. We deal with that all the time with clients that have reactive dogs, and then they're in an area where the dog's supposed to be leashed, but they're not on leash, and then you have your dog on leash, but then a loose dog like runs up to you. So it's hard, and that's why a lot of what I teach is environmental management techniques, like the treat bomb, and then going the other way, like doing that. Oh, yeah. So Willow, in that situation, if they said he's friendly, then you could like stay calm, let your dog sniff. But yeah, if it's dark, that's kind of, it might be a little bit more likely to not just be play. But if you cannot avoid the other dog and they say he's friendly, the best thing to do is just sniff. And then as they're sniffing, be like, okay, good job, good dog. One thing you don't want to do is hold up, like you don't want to pull up on your leash and make it tight, because as soon as the dog like feels tension or a tight leash, sometimes that can cause the dog to react. So you want to keep the leash loose. If you have to, drop the leash and let them circle and sniff. And a lot of times then that's going to be good, and the dogs will just sniff and then leave each other alone. So I've walked a lot of dogs where that were reactive, and we ran into a loose dog, and we just like they couldn't get their dog back. So I'm like, okay, well, we might as well let them sniff because they're here. And luckily nothing happened. They sniffed, and then I just said, oh, good dog, good job, let's go. And then we walked and went. So it worked out really well. Okay. Let's do a drawing. And then if there's any other questions, I will be happy to answer them. I have to put them over here so I can't see. I'm mixing them all up. If I grab Brian's again, I'm going to die. Brian's won like 3 or 4 times. Julie from Georgia. I don't know how to say your last name. Schick-Snyder? Anyway, Julie from Georgia, you are the winner. I'll spell it. Actually, I probably did not spell it right on the paper. So, Julie, what you're going to do is email hello@pupford.com and let them know what kind of training treats you want. And they will send them out to you. So, yeah, if you haven't tried them before, you can pick your flavor, or they will send you your favorite flavor. Okay, so thanks you guys for joining. This was a lot of fun. We got into some deep like behavior stuff, which I love. I love talking about behavior. So thank you for joining, and thank you for being patient with my board and train puppy. It's always chaotic at my house. That's just a given. But I appreciate you guys coming. So have a great week and a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Oh, let me tell you when we're meeting next week. We're switching like days and times just so everybody on both sides of the U.S. can have a oh, wow, I thought I was on the wrong week. Okay, so next week it'll be Thursday at 5. So Thursday the 17th at 5 o'clock will be our live. And then the week after that It's Wednesday, the 23rd at 7. So we're doing one at 5 for the East Coast, and then we're going to do a 7 o'clock for West Coast. And then we'll just like switch around. So thanks for joining, and have a great week and happy training.